Welcome to the Friday Power Lunch, a weekly show amplifying the voices of the Virginia grassroots. Each week, we provide engaging conversations about politics, culture, and women making change. Produced by the unstoppable women of Network Nova, our motto is, when we vote, we win. The Friday Power Lunch is recorded before a live Zoom audience. Follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and show us some love and become a sponsor through Patreon. The Friday Power Lunch. Badass women getting things done.
We're so glad you are in the room. We have a big wish list for this upcoming year. So please add yours in the chat. We'd love to know what's going to be under your tree or what you're hoping for. And we have such a great show today. So much to cover. It's always, it seems like a never-ending active election year, but we have a special holiday show for you all to send you off with some great smiles and things to do. So let's unwrap the show. We have, like I said, some special guests talking all about reproductive freedom. We have a candidate here, Hallie Siebold, running for the special seat in House District 35, and Jean Rossi will be joining us later to talk about all things legal. But today, believe it or not, it is Friday, December 16th, and you're on the Friday Power Lunch. I'm Catherine White, your host, bringing you the guests, the issues, the action, amplifying the voice of the grassroots to get things done and to make politics freaking fun. So let's get to it. As you know, you're here. Today's theme is holiday lights and legal rights. We are ready for the fight. Reproductive freedom for all. So we are going to go straight to some good news first. We, of course, we were always prepared for however this show will roll because we have Senator McClellan here with us. She was going to be obviously handling the constitutional amendment, some of the legal stuff that's going to be all about strategies for how we are going to secure reproductive rights in Virginia. But the more exciting news is that she announced that she is running for Congressional District 4 with the passing of the just well-loved, well-respected Congressman Don McCeechan. Senator, I can't think of a better person to fill his shoes, a person of integrity, person just that fights for justice, and she is here with us. We want to start with her because our wish list that we're adding to is making sure she wins this primary that's on December 20th, Tuesday, and it is going to be fast and furious. But you know what? It's only 5 days before Christmas. Women know how to get this shit done. Let's do it. So is the senator in the room?
Unfortunately, she's not in.
What's
not in
happening?
yet. I know. So
she
let's
must
do
be
it.
busy doing something.
She must be doing. So maybe we'll do a little business and then get to her as soon as we can.
I love to do a little business. First of all, I want to welcome. Let's welcome our guests. Let's bring up. We're going to have Charniele Herring here, House District down. I've just all of a sudden blanked on your house. Hello.
36, yeah. Hi.
That's it. Yeah, I'm like, whoo. Hey, we were talking in the chat about the painting behind you. It's lovely.
Thank you. Yes, it was painted by somebody who worked for the dictator Trujillo in the Dominican Republic. So it is.
Oh,
it is.
very
Yeah.
cool.
So, yeah.
Well, we're glad you're here because it's so important. You're going to be talking about this constitutional amendment and also some of the stuff going on. I know that Glenn Youngkin, they had he released his budget. There's a lot to unpack with you today. Thank you for being here. It is always a pleasure to see you. So thanks.
Thank you.
Next up. Oh, what? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm done. Go ahead.
You're done. Okay, sure. You're never done, but we get you.
I know
and
you're
TARINA Keene, the executive director of REPRO Rising Virginia. Hello, TARINA. Are you ready for the holidays, my friend?
I am not.
You panicked?
In fact, I hope to spend, once we finish up today, I have desperately got to go and get some stuff done for the holidays. It's a big weekend, but I had to get ready.
I have to say, I always make a joke, the fakery of like this guy in a red suit does all this stuff. And you're like, no, that's not really how it rolls. It's women making the cookies, doing all the wrapping and all that kind of stuff. So we're glad you had time. This is
don't tell my 9-year-old that because
okay, no 9. Well,
he's
he
a
does.
true
He
believer.
does his thing. Yeah. I'm just saying, of course he does. He gets all the easy stuff. We do all the cooking, right? And all that.
That's right.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And LEXI WHITE is going to be here today with you, the policy director of REPRO Rising. LEXI WHITE, welcome to REPRO Rising. You're the new policy director. It's so great to have you in the room. Just pull her up, and there she is. Hi, LEXI.
Hey, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's so exciting that you have this job. This is a big, long game for Virginia.
It certainly is. We're gearing up for an eventful legislative session, to say the least.
Well, hopefully you have your all your holiday cookies baked, and we'll hopefully be baking and unwrapping with you later. It's so great to meet you, and also to have you on this great journey to secure reproductive rights in Virginia. Thank you, LEXI. Now, Gene Rossi will be here, but he's busy in court right now. He'll be with us later, giving us all things legal. But we do have Holly Siebold with us to say hello, as she's in the special election. Holly, come up and give a holla. Hey, girl.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm excited to tell you, give you an update on our campaign.
Well, it has been nonstop for you, friend. And I know you're also busy with your nonprofit bras, and you not stop the fight for giving girls and women access to menstrual products, and also bras, underwear, everything they need. So we appreciate you, especially this time in this season. Feel free to drop that nonprofit link in there if you're collecting for the holidays. I'm sure people. All right.
I'll do that too. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you bet. So thank you for being with us. We'll get to you later. And if the senator's not quite with us yet, let me just say the usual rules of the road. We love to chat, keep it positive. That's where we're at now, all positive. And so also at 1 o'clock, stick around for the after chat. It's the place to be. This is where we have so many actions to talk about. And lastly, supporting our show to become a patron. We love you in the room. Thank you. You've made our year merry and bright. And some of you have stuck around for next year, and we are so honored. Thank you to Alvina McCall, our new patron, and a big thank you to Martha Ellett for increasing her monthly support. You're awesome. Thank you. And want to have a big reminder to everyone that put up that graphic, Robin. Happy holidays to everybody. We are going to this is our last show, our holiday special. We will be back on January 6th. We're going to come out of the gate just on fire for this legislative session in Virginia, and dealing with all kind of great issues and political gabs. So we hope that you will be back with us and continue to support our show. And if you have also ordered the holiday badass All In to Win Virginia gifts, they're in the mail. If you've already ordered them, you still have time to order the set of 4 wine tumblers that are what a best way to toast. I was at Marcus Simon's latke party the other day, and I gave him some of these as a little gift. And I'm like, hey, what a great way to toast in your new year. So you can still get those. You order today, they'll be with you in time for the holidays. Or, Stair will drive them to your house, I'm sure, if that's the case, if you don't live too far. Right, Stair? Putting you on the spot. All right, let's just get right to it. Again, we're going to go with the fact that our Senator McClellan is very busy, but I know that she'll be popping in. TARINA, let's just go straight at it. We know the end of Roe, serious problems in Virginia, but that made you just go all in. We're in this post-Roe world. The midterms had some surprising outcomes for reproductive rights. And so tell us what happened and what this might mean for post-Roe America and Virginia.
Yes. Well, again, thank you for having me today. I think what we want everyone to understand and leave here with is that on November 8th, and even before that, with what happened in Kansas, we learned that when abortion is on the ballot, we win. And we've known that for many, many years, but this was just more proof that, especially in this critical moment in the post-Roe world, is that we know if we put this on the ballot, we will win. So first we had, Kansas in the summer, we had 5 states on November 8th that had some version of an abortion provision or ballot on the ballot. That was Vermont, California, and Michigan. I guess the blue and purple states, and then 2 very solidly red states, Kentucky, and right. Montana. And they voted. All 5 of those voted to actually protect abortion rights and access. And the 2 in Kentucky and Montana obviously rejected the attempt to actually strip those rights using their constitution. So it doesn't matter, red, blue, or purple states. These states are showing us the way to protect our rights in the Constitution at the state level.
Yeah, so this is where we're getting busy, and this is a long game. I mean, we'll get into it with the Delegate Herring, but this is not just like, oh, we're going to get this done this session, right?
No, we won't get this done, in one session, but it will be, we're going to have to play the long game. But I think that it's clear, no matter how long it takes us to get there, that Americans want their bodily autonomy, and they do not want politicians interfering in their personal health care decisions. And that's pretty clear.
That's why it was in the Constitution to begin with, under, the Amendment of Privacy. Maybe, obviously we know that the majority support reproductive rights and these freedoms, and it's just sending people into chaos. It's really kind of obviously political maneuvering that's happening, and women are paying the price. And I didn't know, I just want to add something off the cuff. I saw a report out yesterday comparing the data in states that have restrictive laws about abortion and states that don't, that women die, is it 62% more die in childbirth or maternal death and so the data shows us how important it is to have bodily autonomy.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know all those specific statistics. I bet LEXI WHITE does. But I do know on the high level that when you compare those states that have less rights available to them and less access to the healthcare in general, of course, I mean, it's pretty obvious that those healthcare outcomes are going to be far worse when you don't have access to bodily autonomy and access to healthcare.
Right, no doubt. Well, with that in mind, let's bring up LEXI. Why don't you introduce LEXI WHITE and tell, just for the audience, and give them a little, TARINA, a start out that your journey to REPRO Rising. Some people may be new, and they may have known you from NARAL, Pro-Choice Virginia. Tell us a little bit about REPRO Rising, and then let's introduce your LEXI, and that would be awesome.
Absolutely. So yes, REPRO Rising Virginia, we officially changed our name in June, so earlier this year. We actually dropped our NARAL affiliation. It was official on January 1st. So we're almost a year into our new name and our but we're all, I like to say we've got a new logo. We still have purple as our
we love purple.
I know, I love purple too. But we are still doing all of the same great work that we've always done, and that is advocating for reproductive health rights and justice and freedom across the board, and making sure that we are, fighting the good fight in Richmond defensively. But our big vision obviously is to make sure that Virginia is a safe haven for abortion rights and access here in the Commonwealth. We are a critical safe haven now that we are in post-Roe America. But we're still doing it. And if you want to learn more, you can go to our website, www.repro, which is short for reproductive, and it stands for reproductive equity, protection, rights, and opportunities. And so we hope that you will help us lean in and secure these values as we go forward and work for reproductive freedom in the Commonwealth.
Yes. So let's go over to LEXI WHITE. We met I'll just go right into it. Lexi's, like I said, you are on, this is a great mission. I think that, like TARINA showed and told us, and we saw in the election, Kentucky, all these other states, it shows that when it's on the ballot, women's rights and bodily autonomy does win. So tell us, Lexi, why is it important in Virginia to pass a constitutional amendment to protect reproductive freedom? What's at stake here? What give us the skinny?
Sure. So there's so much at stake in a post-Roe environment. And it is also a moment where we know a lot of folks are looking for a way to get involved. So we're definitely appreciating that some of our action links are included in the chat here. But what I really want to emphasize today for folks who are listening is that the reality is, while abortion remains legal currently in Virginia, there really are already a number of barriers that make it difficult for patients to access the critical care that they need. And just to give some context, for example, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, if you're under the age of 18, you have to get permission from a legal guardian in order to access abortion care. If you don't have access to a legal guardian who can do that for you, you're forced to navigate a process called judicial bypass, where you have to be deemed fit by a judge to make this decision for yourself. More than 85% of counties across the Commonwealth actually do not have an abortion clinic. There are a number of coverage bans for accessing care that pushes care out of reach, certainly for patients who may be struggling to make ends meet. Abortion is only covered in insurance policies for public employees. In very slim circumstances, right? The cases of life endangerment, rape or incest. And there's no public funding available unless one of those cases in order to cover abortion care, for example, through the Medicaid program. Again, there's currently clinics predominantly located in more of the urban parts of the state: Alexandria, Richmond, Roanoke, and Virginia Beach. And the limited number of locations of providers impact access, especially for people who are living with low incomes, living in rural communities, communities of color who are impacted by structural racism as they navigate healthcare all of the time. And despite these many barriers, we know that 77% of Virginia voters support access to abortion and do not want politicians interfering in their personal lives. And so the idea here with a constitutional amendment, which we saw in the midterm election, that so many states, we saw turnout in so many states where voters supported this, is to really enshrine and protect the right to reproductive freedom in the Commonwealth Constitution, so that remains regardless of who's in power. We don't want politicians playing politics with these critical decisions around bodily autonomy and our reproductive health and well-being. And a constitutional amendment is something that will help us get there.
Yeah, no doubt. And you laid out really well that already some of these barriers that exist. And we have done past shows on this where we know that, not every woman can, even though it's legal, not everybody has access to this. That's why these abortion funds are so important to help women and girls get this kind of care that they need. So in that sense, now you've laid out some of the barriers and the constitutional amendment. What other proactive policies in Virginia can help protect and expand access to abortion care and reproductive care more broadly? So are there other kind of things that you want to tell the audience what that looks like?
Yes. So in this upcoming legislative session, we are also advocating in support of expanding access to contraceptive care and contraceptive equity. And we know that this includes eliminating some of the economic barriers to accessing contraception. Particularly, we're supporting a bill that will be supported by Delegate King on the House side and Senator Hashmi on the Senate side that would legislate access to contraceptive care by eliminating burdensome copays, by eliminating cost sharing and burdensome reimbursement requirements, and essentially enshrine the ACA essential healthcare mandate with regards to contraception in state code here in Virginia.
So I'm so excited to say that we now have Senator McClellan with us. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on the screen. I hope
I wasn't
your
sure.
sound,
your
sound is working.
She's in the car even.
I'm in the car. Yes.
Well,
Hi, everybody. I apologize for being late. I'm just coming from a Unity press conference for, you might know there's a congressional election going on and a primary on Tuesday. And I just left a press conference where Delegates Lamont Bagby, Dolores McQuinn, Mayor LeVar Stoney, and leaders in Eastern Henrico endorsed me. So I apologize for being late, but this is a 1-week primary. So I am filling every single minute.
Well, we're glad you're here because we did start out talking about what we want for Christmas, what we want for the holidays. What we want is Jennifer McClellan to be called Congresswoman McClellan.
Hey, thank you. Well, I have a birthday coming up too, so that'd be a pretty awesome birthday present.
Big 50. So, one thing that when we started off, we paid some honor to the your friend, former Congressman Donald McKeechin, and the shoes you'll be filling. I think that in my estimation, and all these people that are endorsing, that you are the person to fill those shoes. Integrity, the way you lead. And on this issue right now, I think what people will see when we're talking about reproductive freedom, that you've been a leader in this space. And this is why we asked you to be on the show. That's why you're carrying on the Senate side this bill. And then all of a sudden, at the same time, you are running for Congress. So how much fun is that to all come together? So I want to make sure, I know you don't have a lot of time, but we have time right now to highlight you. Let's talk about you a little bit. Let's unwrap what's going on and about this run, why you're doing this, what we could do to help you. And then let's talk about what you love to talk about, you nerd, policy.
Okay. Well, it was a very difficult decision to make while mourning a friend, a colleague, and mentor. Donald and I first met when I was in college. I was a Cigna scholar at the University of Richmond, and he and his law partner were mentors to the scholars. And we got elected to the House of Delegates together. His second tour in 2005. We've partnered on a number of issues, including this one. The last conversation I had with Donald was on the constitutional amendment and what we could do at the state level to protect our status as a safe haven for abortion in the South, which I worked to create with Delegate Herring. And so I made the decision that I could continue my work on a wide variety of issues and serving the people of Central Virginia in Congress while honoring his legacy. And look, this is a sprint. It is literally a 1-week primary because the governor chose the date of the special in a way that left no choice. And so it is basically GOTV time. And what I need your help with is first letting people in the 4th District know there is a primary. It is the Tuesday in the middle of Hanukkah. It is the Tuesday before Christmas.
Yes.
And so letting people know it's a primary, that there are only 7 voting locations because that's as many as they could get in the 24 hours they had between when the governor issued the writ and when they could announce those locations. And I need people to know that I'm running and that I have a 17-year record of fighting for the people of Central Virginia, fighting for the people of Virginia as a whole on reproductive rights, civil rights, voting rights, access to healthcare, affordable housing. I will take that same tenacity that I have used to pass over 350 pieces of legislation in the legislature and to bring congressional level constituent services to a General Assembly district, I will take that same passion and servant leadership to Washington. I will be a loud voice on all of these issues and continue to partner with my colleagues here in Virginia. And we will make history as I'm the first Black woman to Congress from Virginia and bringing that perspective. So I need your help, because we all remember in a normal election, when the majority of the General Assembly came down to pulling a name out of a bowl because it came down to one vote. That could happen here. And I need your help to make sure that it doesn't. I'm doing my part. I'll sleep Wednesday. In the meantime, I am getting out and talking to voters all across this district to make sure they come out and vote and vote for me.
Yes, vote for Senator Jennifer McClellan. Let's make history in this room. You are in the right place. I mean, this place, you have been amazing just to partner with over these years that we've gotten to know you, and you just leave no stone unturned. In the last election, you went everywhere. You supported candidates. I see them in the room right now. And it would be such a proud moment to see you be elevated to that, Senator. So we will do. I could tell you that one thing that's on fire is women. And yes. I can tell you in the chats that I'm in, Andrea Miller's in the room, and we have Katie Horning. We had so many people in your corner up here in Nova, all around. I see Lindley Thorne in the room. We are just going all over Virginia, because you know what? We built relationships now, and these relationships now are so moving us forward. It's so exciting. So let's bring up your partner in this, your friend, Delegate Charniele Herring is here, and let's get to this very important constitutional amendment. And because one thing you're going to have to be doing both. And getting ready for the holidays and all that fun stuff. So let's get to that. Delegate, why don't you say hello and do what you want to say to your friend here, and then we'll get to the constitutional amendment.
Oh, well, sure. Well, hello, everybody, and hello, Senator, soon to be Congresswoman. This is freaking amazing. So, and I'm Jen and I had worked together for so long, and I would say this in the House when she was in the House, when some people were shying away from the issue, we both were jumping in full throttle and defending women or everybody's access to reproductive health care. So it's just been a great partnership. I'm excited for next session, but not more importantly, but I am really excited to see you make history. I mean, there are so many who have tried, so many Black women who have tried. This is a big freaking deal. So
yes. And this is what I heard from Candy King. The Black Caucus is on it. And I was like, okay, because I love it. And I know that all the women and all the sororities and just all that power is in the room to get you elected. And then to get this reproductive justice. And we also have to be worried about the Senate, right? We know that there's all this, let's just say, there's stuff happening with the Senate. We know we have to hold that brick wall, and you've been a brick in that wall. And so I know people have questions about that, making sure that we stay aware that we need to hold it all together to make sure no funny business happens, right? Because let's talk about the governor had put down, he's shopping the 15-week ban. We see some other really bad legislation coming down. Let's talk about that on your side. What are you seeing on the abortion bans or bans on abortion that are coming on your side in the House?
Right. Well, we have Delegate March has done a complete ban. The governor has put some budget language in, preparing for his 15 to 20 week ban, which he promised he would do. But it's disappointing that, yesterday it was all about bipartisanship. It was about mental health. No mention about, abortion. And, so Virginians were not getting the total picture of his intentions. But this is important. And I have to mention something because you asked about the painting behind me. I want everyone to know this is not somebody who was a dictator. This is someone who broke away from dictatorship and from tyranny. and it broke away because of believing in freedoms and believing that, people have, their freedoms. And this goes back to what we're talking about, reproductive health and the freedom to have, I like one of the bubbles at the beginning, agency over your own body without the interference and reason, non-medically evidenced interference of government. So we've got our work ahead, and that's why I enjoyed working with Senator McClellan. We started early working on some language for a constitutional amendment, and it is it's going to be a road to get this done, but it can get done. And as TARINA mentioned earlier, when it comes to preserving our autonomy and agency over our body, Americans want that. Even in conservative states, they rejected restrictions on abortion because they know it's wrong. And not every patient, and why, one of the questions I know that you want me to answer is, why is this important? It's because as with everything, not every patient presents the same. There are different reasons why an individual may need to access an abortion. And I fear and I'm concerned some of these legislators probably have not been in critical care units and understand what can happen. And we are not reading. And when we hear about women having to travel to access a service that a doctor says they need. So it's very critical. It's very important. And I'm ready for the long game.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, messaging is important. I know just leaving a little word out is, no, your painting is from by somebody who escaped a dictatorship.
Yes.
And messaging on this issue is really important to get ahead of it, correct? Because you're absolutely right. A lot of people, we're going to see a lot of things talked about that when you have this really extreme piece of legislation that's a complete ban from, by at conception to this 15-week ban, and people will be like, well, that sounds reasonable. Tell us, TARINA, why that's not reasonable. We know why, but let's hear it from you.
And I am sitting here responding in the chat. So
good for you. Yeah, so we know that's not reasonable. It sounds reasonable. Oh, well, but we know most things happen after 15 weeks. If we know this is where a lot of emergencies happen, where a lot of women lose their pregnancies, where a lot of medical tests. So yeah, get into that, like why we need to let Virginians know how extreme really this is.
Absolutely. Well, let's also be clear that people need access to abortion no matter what and no matter when. But we want to make sure, especially, when you get later into pregnancy, there are those complications that can come up, whether it is a life or a health condition that can impact the pregnant person. But also, there are many fetal anomalies that are severe, and the fetus may never even make it to term, and if they do, it could be a very painful experience outside of the womb. And so every family deserves and needs the opportunity to make the decisions that are best for themselves and their families. That's what this is about. That is all we are asking. And everyone is going to make a different decision for themselves. And that is why it's so important that that medical professionals are not demonized, that they have all the tools in their toolbox to be able to offer the best care that they can for their patients, and that patients can make those decisions that are best for themselves and their families.
Agreed. And that is so important. So, Senator, before you leave, let's talk about this process and this strategy, how we can be involved in this too. I know a lot of us will be paying attention to the session. How does this first stage of this constitutional amendment start? And maybe, Lexi, as well. Let's just talk about what are we going to see happen?
Yeah, so as you know, just to remind you of how we get constitutional amendments, they have to pass 2 General Assembly sessions in a row with an intervening General Assembly election. And so it would have to pass both this session and the 24 session before it could go to the ballot. And we know with the Republican House of Delegates, that's going to be hard, but we have to begin this push and begin this conversation, because we've seen, even with the constitutional amendments that we recently did pass, it takes a couple of rounds before you get the right, you get it right. So we want to make sure, and you get it across the line, even the first line. So we want to make sure that we are starting that now. And we want to make sure, I have to say this before I jump off, we have to make sure we elect Aaron Rouse on January 10th. We need another brick in that wall. And so we need to make sure that we do that. But a constitutional amendment will go through the Privileges and Elections Committee, and then the floor. That's something to remember. This will not go through Education and Health. It'll go through Privileges and Elections.
Okay, nice. And then on your side, Delegate.
On our side, it'll go through the probably Keene too, but I would not be surprised if it found itself in courts as well. Sometimes legislation is referred from one committee to another. And so I got to take this opportunity, because you may not come back to me, is just to remind people about special elections and how sneaky they are. I only won by 14 votes right after Barack Obama won his election. And so if we don't have Holly, some of the critical legislation that TARINA talked about, for example, with expanding access to contraception, regarding the copay, we won't have the votes. So we've definitely got to get Holly, and we got a lot of work ahead of us, y'all. We got to support all these candidates, Jen and Aaron Rouse and Holly Sebold. We got a lot to do.
We're going to have a whole special report out about that coming up next after this session. So we're on it, and we have the links to prove it. I know we have, what we were saying, it's the longest election year ever. This is like, I can't just, right? Okay. And then we're going to almost be rounding this up. I want to say congratulations, Senator McClellan. And just, I know you have to leave and you'll be busy, and let's get you elected. And this is so exciting. And also, I think one thing about this constitutional amendment, like you said, it's a long game, going to take several years. It's a very great chance for us to frame up this messaging and to talk about this issue and to activate more and more people to join our grassroots movement. I think it's just a really excellent opportunity. So Lexi, any last calls to action? TARINA has her hand up, and even in TARINA.
I know. I just wanted to put a plug in, and then we'll go to Lexi. I promise.
Oh, please.
Before the senator leaves, I just wanted to make an announcement, because it's not just public yet, but everybody here on the call, you're the first ones to know that REPRO Rising Virginia is making its inaugural federal endorsement, very first federal endorsement, and we couldn't be more honored than to give that to Jennifer McClellan and to send her off to Congress. Although we desperately
Thank you.
Need her in the Senate.
Thank you very much.
I love it. And the National Women's Political Caucus of Virginia also endorsed, and the federal National Women's Political Caucus. And those women were getting that endorsement like behind the scenes so quick. It was wonderful to see that happen. So yeah, get out there, everybody. Go ahead.
Can I say one last thing? And I'm kind of preaching. I'm preaching to the choir, but I want to say it. Nobody, and I mean nobody, knows how to mobilize a group of people like a working mom. Many of you that are on there, and nobody knows how to organize people on short notice like a motivated woman. So you all, like I said, I will sleep on Wednesday. You all are my energy. You are keeping me fired up, all of the support, but make sure that you are turning that support, not only to donations. A lot of you have donated. Thank you for that. I need you all to be making phone calls, sending texts. Hopefully somebody on my team is putting the Mobilize link in the chat, but let's go make history.
Let's go make history.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. And Lexi, round out this and get call to action. You got the links in there. We're ready to go.
Yes. So many things. I would invite folks to stay tuned for updates about our upcoming Advocacy Day on January 23rd, or Advocacy Days, I'll say, January 23rd and 24th.
Down in Richmond.
In Richmond, which will fall during what would have been and should have been the 50th anniversary of Roe. And we need folks to continue to stay vigilant to fight any and all bans that we may see this session. I know you briefly mentioned, Catherine, that we saw House Bill 1395 already pre-filed by Delegate Marie March. This is a very dangerous personhood at contraception bill. It's a total abortion ban that also rejects critical forms of contraception, IVF, and also has opens up the door for further punishing people for a range of pregnancy outcomes or reproductive decisions. So we need to remind our legislators that no bans are okay, that all bans are bad bans. And that includes a 15-week ban. Yesterday, we saw Governor Glenn Youngkin propose a budget for the Commonwealth that included a lot of money to support a 15-week ban and to couch that within the Department of Corrections. And so we are needing we need to remind Governor Youngkin that we need a clean budget in Virginia that resources reproductive health care rather than resourcing punishment of folks for their reproductive decisions. So that's important, and there's lots of info about our legislative rapid response team in the links that have been shared in the chat.
Yeah, and like I said, I think this is where we grow ranks, TARINA. I've said the same. I know Jamie Lockhart from Planned Parenthood for Advocates of Virginia's in the room. I said to her, this is the time we grow our ranks. This is where people are really going to want to get busy. Thank you, LEXI WHITE. And we're a sister and the White sisters, right? Catherine White, LEXI White. Nice to meet you. And we're going to be really working closely together as with the constitutional amendment. There is the coalition, people that you're part of, that's growing to support this. Thank you, Delegate Herring. And I hope that we just work to get the senator elected. So thank you for all you do as well. And let's just get right to the business of Louisa Borowski, straight out of Arlington. And Louisa, let's go. What are we going to do? What's happening? Just go. I'm going to shut up.
So we just talked about legislation. So I'm going to piggyback off of that to let everyone know that when we come back from break, we are going to be all in on the legislative session. So we're very excited to share with you on January 6th some of the best practices that we learned from last year. What worked well during the legislative session? How are we making sure that some of these horrible bills aren't getting passed? And what is the role of the grassroots and activists like you to help make that possible? So we're going to be talking about strategy on the 6th. And then on January 13th, we will be having our press conference with personality, where you're going to get to hear about some of our priority bills, what we're trying to get accomplished specifically, and hopefully hear from some of our legislators and definitely hear from some of our working group leads on how we're going to make that happen. So stay tuned. I'll also share with you that our next coalition meeting of the Virginia Grassroots Coalition will be on January 8th at 6 p.m. It's going to be right before those two special sessions or special elections that I'm about to talk about. So please come, because if there's our last minute things that need to happen, that will be the place we'll be discussing it. So on to the topic of the hour, which is the special elections. Obviously, the most important one is the one that is coming up first, which is on Tuesday, our primary that you've heard a lot about. I'll make sure that all the information is in the chat, but I want to let you know that they also need poll greeters for Tuesday. And we don't have the link to sign up yet, but I will have it later this afternoon. I will send it out through the coalition. I'll also make sure STAIR has it to include with and send out to you guys. Poll greeting, as you know, is so important, especially now that there are only these 7 locations that you can vote in the primary. We want to make sure we have really good representation and everybody is hearing about Jen if they don't know her name already. So poll greeting will be really important, but obviously before then, their phone banking opportunities, their canvassing opportunities, and text banking opportunities. So I'll put those links in the chat, as well as the contact information for Louisa Jansen, who, if you have any questions at all about how to get involved or want links and you can't find them, contact her. She said that she is available. So then additionally, we've got, as you all know, the special election for Aaron Rouse for Senate District 7. I will put those links back in the chat again. You've seen them before. Please, 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 if you can, sign up for the canvassing weekend, January 7th and 8th. It's our big grassroots weekend. It will be right before the election. We need to make sure people in Virginia Beach know who Aaron is and that we want them to go out and vote on the 10th. And then finally, and most importantly, because she's here with us in the room, is candidate Holly Siebold for HD 35. I know she will tell you all about her campaign, but again, we just need to make sure that people are aware of these special elections. They're just usually go under the radar. People aren't paying attention. The holidays are in full swing, but we need these Democratic seats, and we can win. So please, please take some time out. Your gift to us for the holidays would be to sign up to Phone Bank or to Canvass or whatever it is that you can do to support these candidates. So that's it.
That's a lot of it. It's a lot to unwrap. A lot of it, because it just is so important, the senator, to get that Senate seat, to protect. What I'm worried about is the Senate. Obviously, we all are. We wanted that cushion. Now we know we even need more cushion in there because of what may happen. And we also saw that, that the Joe Morrissey is running also for Congress and also asking Republicans to vote for him. So we know that as activists, we got to just step up the game, and there's no taking off, no sleeping.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. No breaks for us, but that's okay.
That's okay.
We can sleep after the legislative session, which will be very short this year, everyone. So we're just on a sprint mode. And then later in February, after we get Jen elected to Congress, hopefully there'll be a brief breather. That's when the weather will get better anyway. Nobody wants to be outside right now. I mean, unless you're canvassing, in which case, because that's how you keep warm, right?
Well, I think we also have to be
work off those calories from the cookies. So
and I think our strategy has to be included. Be ready for anything, because the governor could call a special session just on abortion later on. And this is where looking at the timing, being prepared, and this is where we have to think. And with that, let's bring up a really great person in general, and somebody so familiar with how the General Assembly works, Holly Siebold, who is the director of BRAS, and also now the candidate for for the House District in 35, where Mark Keene was. So welcome. We're so excited about the special election. Tell us what's going on. Are you just holding it together?
Yes. Thank you all so much for inviting me today. I'm excited to be able to speak to you. And what an honor to follow Jen McClellan, who has supported me and has supported legislation that I've worked on over the years, and who just recently contributed to my campaign. So kind of bummed that I have to stay in town this weekend to canvass for this race, because I'd be the first one down there helping her. But I'm thinking good thoughts and hoping that, and I know she's got a lot of great people.
No doubt. But let me just step in and say, and it's because I've seen you support women. Catherine Reed, your friend, was running for mayor, and you were there for her, literally, really the backbone of helping her, and she won. Mm-hmm. And she's helping you. And just to see you in this space is so awesome.
Thank you.
And like the delegate said, they need you. And I have to tell, they don't know what's coming. They have not met Holly Siebold, have they?
I mean, they've seen me over the years.
Well, then they must know that you are a strong supporter of women, women's rights, women's equity, women's reproductive. I mean, and I'm so glad to have your voice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be.
I'm ready to tackle and fight. Besides Charniele and other amazing delegates who have been there for so many years, and they'll get me up to speed because my election is January 10th, as you all mentioned, and the session starts the 11th. So luckily, I have great people to mentor me. Charniele has been amazing already, so I'm looking forward to heading down there. But first, I need to get elected. So I'll give you an update on our campaign. first, we're excited to receive the support, and so many of y'all are on the call from REPRO Rising, Planned Parenthood, Virginia's List. We just got the endorsement of Emily's List yesterday.
Nice.
So, yeah, we're really excited to have so many strong groups who I've looked up to over the last couple of years, supporting our campaign. So I know that they have reached out, asked to support, so I'm excited to have them on board. We're organizing a press conference next week with some of these groups. Yeah, we are excited to have them on board, mainly because my opponent is she's an extremist, but underplaying it. She is
extremist on what?
She's an anti-abortion activist.
Gotcha.
She's worked for many years for an organization that is trying to ban abortion. And she's getting the support from the Republican Party. This is her number one mission, and I think they put her forward because it's a special election. She seems like a normal mom, but really this is her platform, and this is her goal, is to ban abortion for the rest of us who believe in bodily autonomy. So we don't want her to win, and luckily TARINA and Jamie have stepped in and said, we'll continue that. We'll spread that message loud and clear to our community who thinks that she's just wants to put extra money into adoption.
To step on you a little bit.
No,
because you know why? Because we know that abortion is one of these issues that there's a majority of people agree with bodily autonomy and personal decision making. We saw that the Republicans who hid from it, like DeSantis, or changed your website or didn't want to talk about it, we're able to do better. And so we see them hiding from some of this, or not just really telling voters about their stand on this. So it's really important. I just want to say before you leave, one thing that I was real impressed with your campaign, and I would say to people in the room to learn from you, is that you were endorsements. They matter, right? If they come with some work on the doors and all that. But what mattered was you were there for the voters. You were at polling places. You were talking to the voters. And that's why it's so important, to be present at those polling places, correct? And I see Todd with the thumbs up, to make sure that your team is that somebody is there representing, because that's what made the difference.
I do believe that. Yeah, and thanks for that plug, because that was going to be my next mention. I've been canvassing every day. So that even on this conversation today, I was like, I need to get out after this call and get back on the doors. That's the most important thing. But this time of year, it's hard to recruit volunteers, and especially now there's a couple other special election races going on. So if you have the time, please come and volunteer with us. That door knocking is going to be the difference in this election. We're a very tight-knit community, and those doors matter. People do answer them. We speak to about 50% of those that we knock on the doors of. This Saturday in particular, we have a big canvas tomorrow with Jerry Connolly is coming afterwards to celebrate our canvas with us. So please canvas in the morning, stay afterwards to meet with Jerry. 4:00. We have cookies and hot cocoa for you can warm up after canvassing. Yeah, so please come to that. I put the link in the chat already. Yeah, so
and what I want to say too is that the nice thing too is that you have yours January 10th. So you have some time, and then to hit it after the holidays to get people's attention. But that you were there on the actual date of the vote and to greet people, I think makes a heck of a difference. And I know that that's really important. So good luck, friend.
Thank you.
Best to you. If I don't see you before the holidays, I have my family coming this weekend. They're on the road now. 34 of them coming for ravioli on Saturday. I know, a little bit crazy. So thank you, Holly. Good luck with everything. So proud. And I want to have a lot of fun in my next segment with a great friend. Jean Rossi's here to talk about all things legal, all things going on in that legal world. It's been a year, hasn't it, Jean? Jean, I'm so glad you made the time to be with us today. You're in your war room over there. You're a pundit. If people haven't seen you, talk about all things legal. Let's talk about 2022 and what's going on in the Trump world and the insurrectionist world and all the traitors over there. That Jack Smith is special counsel is tracking down. Give us a fun update, Gene. Let's go.
Well, I can tell you this right now, that Jack Smith used to be head of the public integrity section at the Department of Justice, and he is not Robert Mueller. Robert Mueller was in the waning days of his career. He was low energy, if you will, to use Trump's phrase. He's a lot, Jack Smith's a lot different than Robert Mueller. Second thing is Robert Mueller's very aggressive. He indicted Bob McDonnell. That was a very aggressive indictment. Third thing I want to say about him is Jack Smith has a lot that he can look at now. The Mar-a-Lago espionage aspect, the fake electors, the call that Trump made to the Secretary of State. He has a lot more to look at versus what Robert Mueller did, who was starting from scratch. So I predict this. If there are going to be indictments against Trump and his other cronies, and I think they're warranted, it will probably be no later than September of next year. If they go beyond that, then Trump may dodge a bullet. But I think Trump is definitely in harm's way, and he's just making a fool of himself with this commercial he came out yesterday with the digital photos. I think the guy has certifiably lost his mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, but don't you think that lays on the Republican Party that has lost their way by following it? You look at Mark Meadows and his texting with 35 different legislators that are talking about how they're going to overturn the election. And we see the danger of not holding someone accountable. So this is so important. I mean, what are you thinking? Here are all these people that are on the low level got arrested. Some are in jail, but the big guys and girls. Well,
I can't tell you my client. I can't tell you the facts of my case. I am representing one of the lower level people. I call them the minnows.
Yes.
He's 21 years old. I'm proud to represent him because he's being overcharged. The people at the top, the one who made the Fight Like Hell speech, who helped organize that rally, they should be charged, and that includes the President of the United States. They should have been charged a year ago.
Yes.
And we shall see. Jack Smith is an aggressive prosecutor, and I have high hopes. But I got to say this, I had high hopes with Robert Mueller. I hope I'm not disappointed again.
No, I mean, it is. I think it's just really important for our democracy, the accountability, and especially when we see the ramped upness of the violence around this. And then you saw it go global, in Germany, that this try of overturning the election. So I think this is so important and it's such a big deal. And anything else on your mind for any other legal, what's happening?
The only thing on my mind right now is the great Diane and I need to go Christmas shopping because we got to put some presents under the tree. And I want to wish everybody, I love you all. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. I have one complaint. I love ravioli, but I love spaghetti and meatballs better.
Well, so you and my husband, I'm making him the spaghetti. And we have the ravioli, and I have the meatballs already made in sausage, and we have the bacala, we have the 7 fish, we have the smelts coming. So don't worry. One of these years, Gene, I'll get you over here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, Merry Christmas, friend, and you tell your lovely wife hello, Diane, and go out there and stay safe. And we'll have you on after the new year.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy Hanukkah. Happy everything.
Happy every religious holiday.
Happy. It's just this really a time that is so crazy, but thank you. And it's that 1:00 hour again, but I want to make sure that we get to say thank you to all the guests that came on today. What a wonderful show. Always so much to talk about. A reminder, can we put the graphic up, Robin? Wishing you all happy holidays, and just also that our last show, this is it, the holiday show. I hope you were all excited to join us and how fun it was to have the senator on. And I'm so glad to see the activists in the room. I saw Andrea Miller. I hope she stays past 1 because she is really leading the charge to help elect the senator as well. And we will be back January 6th. So we're going to take a little break and be working actually on the show, but we'll have a break and we'll see you all after the new year on January 6th. And, give us a little love. Little holiday love, support our show. This is what, our 178th, I don't know, we've been doing this for 2 years straight, this show every Friday, bringing it, because we really believe that relationships matter, you matter, being positive together matter, getting together when we can, and just really staying in the game is how we make sure that, we stay sane, and we also fight for our democracy. And I hope you can stay for the after chat. We're going to have a lot of fun. And don't forget, the recap will be coming out. It's going to be full of all the action links, so no worries. They're coming at you if you didn't get it moved so fast in the chat. But in the recap, that you will get that readout. So no worries. Thank you to the team, Robin Warner, Philnell Norton, Heidi Dragneff, Denise Orsinger. And today our Zoom helpers aren't here today, but thank you to them, Laura Martinez, and our newcomer chat liaison, Michelle McKinney also isn't here today, but wishing her happy holidays. And our content concierges, Julie Galdo, Alvina McHale, Sally Reynolds,